The Russian occupiers are detained and not paid the promised salaries and payments. There are problems with monetary allowances practically all over Russia, the Sever Reali edition writes. The mobilized themselves refuse to talk about this with the media, but their wives and mothers record appeals to Putin himself. A resident of the Vladimir region, for example, sounded the alarm about the fate of her mobilized son only after the payments were stopped.
I began to worry in the month of January. I did not receive payments then, so I began to call the recruitment office, went to the military registration and enlistment office of the UATV and Vladimir regions. They also wondered why there were no payments. I went to Moscow, to the Ministry of Defense, where they were also very surprised that firstly, I am looking for my son, and secondly, that there were no payments.
Since the beginning of March 2023, payments have been delayed or not paid at all in 52 regions of Russia. Moreover, relatives of those mobilized say that the money has already run out not only for uniforms and supplies, but also for food. So, for example, in a telephone conversation intercepted by Ukrainian intelligence, the wife of a Russian serviceman speaks about the poor supply of units.
They are buying up. They were transported and there is no food where they were transported. The servicemen are buying up only at their own expense. He has run out of money. There is none even for food. Mom had just packed a bag with food, wife of a Russian conscript, from a conversation intercepted by Ukrainian military intelligence.
Mobilized Rosgvardia soldiers from Nizhny Novgorod recorded a video message and asked to send them summer clothes, shorts, socks, radio stations and so on, which the Russian Ministry of Defense is obliged to provide them with. We are required field uniforms, moss collar, camouflage coats, moss collar, summer berets, summer underwear, summer socks, trainers, trouser belts, tactical rucksacks, tactical helmets, radio stations, tactical vests. After the announcement of the mobilization, Vladimir Putin approved a list of instructions on issues of providing support to the mobilized and their families. The Ministry of Defense and the Ministry of Finance were instructed to establish monetary payments for citizens of Russia called up to the front line of the war against Ukraine, based on the minimum guaranteed amount of at least 195,000 rubles per calendar month. However, now instead of the promised hundreds of thousands of rubles, there is zero on the cards. The wives of the military of the Russian army are complaining to the publication Sever Reali.
The salary did not come either for January or February. Before that, everything was fine. 195,000 rubles every month on the 12th. I haven't applied anywhere yet. My husband has been at war since September. He is a volunteer. Yelizaveta, wife of a volunteer to the army, city of Volzhsky, Volgograd region, in an interview with Sever Reali.
As the Russian government reported, by March 2023, the federal budget deficit had already exceeded the annual plan. But according to a press attaché of the opposition movement Off to the Woods, non-payments are not connected with the fact that Putin has run out of money for the war, but with a chaos in the Russian military structures.
Никто, я думаю, и не собирался ничего никому платить.
Nobody, I think, was going to pay anything to anyone. It was more like a lure and an advertising campaign. The Russian army, as our experience shows, as those who contact us show, is such a microcredit organization that offers everyone, without exception, an easy and quick income, after which people are actually enslaved to it. Thus, contracts are concluded. Thus, the army is replenished. Thus, professional army personnel on paper appears in Russia. The military began to realize that they are fighting for free, and their complaints go nowhere, a Russian human rights activist says. And the situation will get even worse. According to the oppositionists in Russia, a new recruitment of those mobilized to participate in the war against Ukraine has already begun. The summons are received by residents of 44 regions of Russia, from Moscow and St. Petersburg to Dagestan and the Yamalo-Nenets Autonomous District. Among the recipients of documents, there are university students who have a deferment from military service. Reported by Pavlo Shtermach, Natalia Belkudrya, Evgeny Karmazin, UATV News.